And we are live. Welcome to lunchtime. It's a great day here. It's a Monday and we're starting off the week. We're having a wonderful time. And I hope that each of you are ready for hearing some good things. I had a little technical difficulty, so I had to go out and come back in. Don't you love it? You know, nothing's ever perfect in the world of technology. And certainly, I'm glad I got the voice back. Woo! And thank you to all of you for all of your kind words and wishes. My family is amazing. And you have been so good in encouraging me and just keeping all those good things going. Good morning, good morning, good morning. And we are going to take a look today. And Ronnie, that's fine. You said you're going to be in and out. That's great. I appreciate it. Yes, I can't believe it. The voice is back. Woohoo! And I am so glad. I've really been looking forward to lunchtime today because we've got so much to talk about. Today is the 28th of November, and you know what? We are just a matter of a couple of days away before we get into December. And December has so many things that we really need to think about. And we need to be purposeful, intentional, and we need to make sure that we're really making plans. Now, we thought that when we got into November and trying to get through Thanksgiving, we thought that that was going to be sufficient, that all of that planning would be sufficient. And it was. It was sufficient for November. But you know, December brings about things that are so totally different. And we are going to certainly try to take a look at the things that we need to do for December, not only just our meal plans, which we're going to be taking a look at that this week. We're going to talk about it a little bit about it today, but we're also going to talk about some other things that while we are making plans and getting things ready for the month of December, there are some things that sometimes we tend to put off. And so we're going to take an opportunity to look at that. So I'm going to put my glasses on, and it may be, you know, I may glare you out for a little bit, but I need to be able to see. So I am so glad that you all are here. I am glad that we are back to sitting down at the lunch table. And you know, a lot of people are out doing their shopping today. And I'm not there yet, haven't gotten there yet, but I'll get there eventually. And you know what I did? Now, first of all, what I want to show you was that you know how I am when I'm planning, and I love my B6ology. And I was out at Joann's. I don't know if you have a Joann's in your area, but it's a craft store. And Joann had Happy Planners on sale. And so I was able to find an 18-month Happy Planner on sale. And I think it was like $22, $23, $24 for the 18 months. And I got it for like $12, $13. I'm going to say $12.95, close enough. And I was just so excited because I've never used one of these, and mainly because it has these little disc that's in there. Well, you know, I've always had in my head that the disc would come out and that they would be a problem when you were trying to flip the pages. But you know what? They work. They really do. They really work. And so I thought, okay, I'm going to try this for December, see if I really like it, and go from there. So coming up, you're going to see some of the things that I've done for December in that planner. Now, that's not today, but you will be seeing that this week. And so I've been doing a few things to get you ready for this week. And I'm trying to be very not just intentional for you, but I'm being intentional for me, because when I'm planning and I'm trying to get ready, I know that you are out there and that there are things that I'm thinking about, and it may be that you just haven't thought about it yet, or that you're thinking about. And some of us, and I do this too, sometimes I'm thinking about it at that moment and then I'll put it off. And so I'm saying that we're going to try to work together, and we're going to try to do some planning and some preparation, because before we know it, the new year is going to be here. And that's a special time. We are thankful for the new year. It gives us a chance to take a look back, but it also gives us a chance to plan intentionally, purposefully, and peacefully for the new year. So those are the things that we're going to be taking a look at. And I'm going to call this PIP. That means purposeful, intentional planning. That's what we're doing, PIP. And so let's talk a little bit about PIP. PIP is, in my head, is a chance for us to plan for success. And certainly, I'm sure all of you are trying to take a breather from Thanksgiving, and because there was a lot to do to get ready for Thanksgiving. Hello, Connie, very from Idaho. Oh my goodness, wonderful! I'm so glad you're here. And we're talking about what I call PIP, purposeful, intentional planning. And when we're purposeful in what we're doing, that's going to include every facet of our life. That's going to include those things that we need to do for ourselves, those things we need to do for our family, those things that we need to do for if we work outside of the home or we're working in the home, we have to make plans for what we're going to do. And I'm kind of like this. When December hits, there's get-togethers. I just found out yesterday at church there were a number of things that I had to put on the calendar because they're coming up, and I wanted to. I came home and I was putting it on my phone in church. Hello, Tam. Good to see you. While I'm thinking about it, I'm going to ask her this question. Tam, yesterday I sent um, a message to you from MailChimp, an email. Let me know in the description box, in the box, if you got that. Because I added you to the distribution list for the newsletter, and I just want to make sure that you, and I know Sue, and it was one other person that I needed to add to that. And I did all of that yesterday. And so I wanted to make sure that you got the message. I tried to send it to you directly from email, and I also sent it to you from the email site. So take a look at that if you haven't. Jan, wonderful to have you here from South Dakota. Woo! I love it. I love it. I hope you're going to enjoy lunchtime because we have a lot of fun. Yes, thank you, Sue, for letting me know. And we have a lot of fun here. For those of you who are new, let me first say, before we get into what we're going to talk about today, we here at Ebony Ivy and Thyme, it is all about home cooking. It is all about, we get into homemaking here in the kitchen. We are into also building up ourselves as well as building and encouraging our family. And if you think back to the past, the kitchen was a strategic place where your mom your grandmother could bring that family together. You could sit down. The prayers were said, you ate the food, you had good conversation. All of those wonderful things took place right here in the kitchen. We do not want to lose that. We want to make sure that we are continuing to support and to build our community right here in the kitchen. And it's always fun at lunchtime, because at lunchtime we can sit down, we can grab our iced tea, in my case it's water, we can get a sip, we've got our lunches, and we're able to sit here and just enjoy the moment. And so for those of you I know who have worked outside of the home, when lunchtime came, you had a particular place or a particular group that you ate lunch with, and it was always fun. You were chit-chatting it up and talking about what you've done or talking about what your plans were. That's what we do here at lunchtime. We have an opportunity to do that. Now, so let's get into PIP, our purposeful, intentional planning. Now, PIP is important because we want to be successful. That's a key thing. Success is always a positive thing. It makes us feel good. It makes us feel good about ourselves. Sometimes it's something small that we're doing that we're trying to put together, and we be successful. And if you're like I am, I need to write it down. And I have post-it notes, or I've got my little notebook here that I've been jotting notes down. And for today, and in fact, you'll see it says Monday the 28th. And I was jotting down notes because I didn't want to forget anything. And so I'm really excited to be able to bring some of these things to you as we're thinking, because I'm thinking about two things. We are planning our task for this month. What is it that we need to do, that we need to accomplish? We need to know what we need to do, who we need to do it for, and when does it need to get done? Okay, good, Tam. Great, great. And so all of those things are intentional that we need to look at. And I'm doing it. I'm doing it right here in my planner, trying to make sure that I am planning and making every day successful. And so success does not have to have all the bells and whistles. Success can be making sure sometimes the little points are small, depending upon what it is that you need to do. Okay, so for instance, let me give you an example. Yesterday, of course, Sunday, went to church, check. We had planned to start working on the Christmas decoration at church. And I'm usually the one who heads up that committee. So check, we got started with that. And last year, a group of people took everything down. So when everything came out, it wasn't exactly as nice and neat as what we normally put it together. We normally put it up because we had different people working. And so that caused a moment where we had to kind of regroup right there on the spot, figure out what we were doing and go with it. But before we left, the plan was we had the 12-foot tree. We needed that put up. That was the main thing. We needed men to do that because, those 12-foot trees are heavy. So that was a part of the plan. We had 2 9-foot trees that go on our stage. And so we needed those put up. So that was another thing that was on my checklist that needed to be done. I needed to make sure that the basics were in place so that when my crew came in to actually do the decorating, it wouldn't be difficult. We could do what we needed to do and move smoothly with that. And so we were able to get started with that because it's quite a task when you're trying to do three pretty large trees with a small group. And I don't know, it may be that at your church you have like 20 people to come in and they do all the decorating. Well, that doesn't always happen at all churches. We have a good sized church, but you know what? They have little ones, they've got sports, they've got all kinds of stuff after church, and everybody's running. And so it's usually those of us who are, I'll say, a little more senior, that we have a little more time to be able to spend and to do these types of things. So because of that, that was a part of the list. So that was a checklist for yesterday. So when by the time I got home, I knew I needed to make sure that I finished dinner because I knew what I was having. It was already in the plan. And but it was purposeful and intentional. So by the end of the evening, when I sat down to take a break, then I could really look back and feel like I had accomplished quite a bit. And in fact, I accomplished more than what I had really planned, to be honest with you. But it was intentional. Now, so as we get into December, we're looking at, some of us are still doing gift purchases. We need to know who those people are. So there needs to be a list. Who do you need to purchase gifts for? Do you need hostess gifts? All those kind of things need to be put down so that when you go shopping, you can take your list and you can check off as you go and take care of that. If you still have decorating to do, to try to decorate your entire house in one day. Now, I'm not going to say it's not possible because when I was probably 20 years younger, I did that. I could knock this house out and have it all done in one day. Not anymore. Not anymore. I don't do that anymore. And I think it's not that I can't. It's that, well, at this point, I don't have to. I don't have to do it that way because I'm at home, and it allows me to be able to spread it out over a few days and get things done. And so those are the types of things that you're looking at. Plus, you want to look at your time schedule. You know, is there a particular time of the day that's better for you to be able to think? Mine is in the morning when everybody else is asleep, and I can really sit down and think about those things that I need to do. And also, you want to, you think about when the kiddos are going to school or when they're working. If you're homeschooling and they're at work, then that gives you an opportunity to be at work where you can sit down and have some quiet time to put things down on paper. Now, so first, your first step is to figure out what it is that you need to do. And I like looking at it on a monthly scale. So I pulled out the monthly December calendar and I started to jot things down in pencil, so that should I need to shift, I can still do that. And it's always good to be able to do that, to be able to go back. So, sometimes when you put it in ink, it's I'm not OCD, but I am such that if I put it in ink, I think I absolutely have to get it done. And but if I put it in pencil, that gives me the option of being able to look at it, say, yes, this is what I need to do. But if something occurs, then I know, okay, I can take this, move it over here to another day, and it's okay. It's okay. Because we have to be able to be flexible with ourselves, and that's okay. Now, we also, as we're thinking through December, what do we want? And I'm going to start with our holidays. What do we want our holiday to look like? Now, for us, the turkey portion, all that we focused on at Thanksgiving. And so, for those of you who are looking for things to do with those leftovers, as soon as this is over, the newsletter comes out. And in the newsletter, um, I've given you three of my favorite things that I do with my leftovers, with my turkey and all the dressing and all those good things. If there's some left, then what I do with those leftovers. So those are going to be coming to you later on. For those of you who may be in our discussion box today, I have a newsletter that comes out weekly. And if you're interested in being a part of that distribution list, then certainly shoot me an email, and I will be happy to add you to the distribution list. I don't inundate you. I do one a week, and I try to make it valuable, something that is helpful for you. And so those are the things that we will be looking at in the newsletter. We're going to look at our leftovers. We're going to look at our planning. And there's some things that I added in there that I think you will enjoy having. Oh, I'm looking at Connie. Connie says that she's using the bones from 2 turkeys. Oh, and canning bone broth. Oh, yum, yum, yum. Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Well, one of those recipes that's going to come out today uses the carcass and the turkey carcass, and uses that carcass. I like to roast my carcass and then add it to whatever it is that I'm going to do with it, because it just adds that roasted smoky flavor to it. So one of the recipes that I'm giving to you, that I will be giving to you in the newsletter, will be the turkey carcass recipe, something to do with it, so that it's just not sitting in your refrigerator. And of course, always turkey broth should be somewhere on that list. So just keep that in mind. Now, so as we think about Christmas, now our Christmas, our Hanukkah, our Kwanzaa, whatever your holiday is that you happen to celebrate during this month. Or maybe you're one that, I was talking to someone the other day, and they said that they were going to put, I thought it was so crazy. They were going to put a sheet over their head because they weren't celebrating anything this month. I think they had just about burned out in November trying to get everything done. They had a huge group for Thanksgiving, and they had house guests, the works. So she was laughing, saying she was shutting down. The house was going to be shut down for Christmas. Now, we probably think that all the time, but I'm sure before it's all over with, she'll be in the spirit of doing whatever's necessary. Now, we are certainly entering the season of Advent, and there are activities that are going on for Advent, whether it's at church, whether you do it personally, a personal study. All of that becomes a part of your plan as you sit down to look at your task and what it is that you want to accomplish. Now, as I'm looking at my task, I'm also thinking about 2023, because as I'm putting these types of tasks together, I'm clipping them into my planner, so that when I go back to that planner next year and look at December, I can see some of the things that I did, some of the things I planned, some of the things I had hoped I would get done, and some of the things that maybe I wanted to accomplish and I just didn't have enough time to do that. And I have to be honest with you, for November, after I got sick, I with that awful cold, there were some things I didn't get done that I had really planned to do, and but I wasn't able to do that. But I still have my list. So I can look back at that and I can start to refresh for the next year. So as we're thinking about 2023, what are some of the things that you want to accomplish? And I'm going to talk about that now because now's the time. Now's the time. You do not want to wait until the last second. We don't want to wait till New Year's. We don't even want to wait till New Year's Eve to make intentional, purposeful plans for 2023. We want to have an idea as to what are some of the things we would like to accomplish in the new year. Whether it may be that you're thinking about trying to pay off a mortgage and you want to be intentional with that. What is your plan? Put it down on paper because there's something about putting your plans on paper that makes it very real. And so those are the types of things that you're going to be looking at. You want to be able to not only uh, think about, do you want to increase your savings? And if that's the case, how are you going to go about that? We are still up and down as far as our food supply goes. And so we have been throughout 22 very intentional in making have hand goods, making sure that we have a place for storage for food, making sure that we have items in our freezer and in our refrigerator that we can go to. We have been intentional about putting down a master plan of recipes that we like to cook. And we've added some new things to that. Those are purposeful, intentional things that we're doing in our kitchen. We have gone through and we've done some purging in the kitchen this year in 22, where we've gone through and those things that we always have a few pots and pans that are just beyond, they just kind of keep getting stuck in the back because they look terrible. And, after a while, they just get so beat up that we really do need to either throw them away, or if they aren't quite that bad, we might want to donate them. And so we found things that we could do that with. This is a good time to think about that. And so, what is it that we need to do in our home, in our kitchen, with our family that is going to make 2023 a smoother, more perfect situation? Now, first of all, we have to start with ourselves. What do we need for ourselves for 2023? That's important. And that's probably the hardest thing to put down on paper because, when I tend to put everybody else first. And you may do that too, where, you're moving through the week and you just keep pushing you back. And you kind of get everybody else done. Make sure the kids are taken care of. Make sure the hubby's taken care of. Make sure your mom or dad, if you have a mom and dad that maybe they need that extra, and you're trying to navigate all of that. And so as you look at that, we've got to remember that if we aren't in good shape, then no one's in good shape. And so those are some of the things that we want to look at for 2023. How are we going to go about that? Now, whether it's, let me give you one thing that I put on my list that I had cut out during COVID. I usually go at least every month and have a pedicure and a manicure. Well, once COVID came through, that was off the list. Now, so we're looking at that's one of the things I'm going to add back to the list because I love being able to go and just sit there and have that little spa treatment once a month. And sometimes it's every 1.5 months, depends on how far I stretch it. But at least that gives a moment where I can do something for me. If it's making sure that at least one night a week you can go fill up your bathtub, put in your favorite fragrance, and have a me night in the bathtub. Have music, have iced tea or whatever beverage of choice that you'd like to sip on while you are soaking in a warm, nice tub and just relaxing and have some nice oils that you can put on your body. And those are the things we need to do for ourselves, but we have to do it intentionally. So, on my list for 2023, it's on there because I need to be more intentional about that because I have a tendency not to do that. Um, Sometimes it's the laundry. I tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that there have been weeks where I've been running behind with laundry. And, I try to do a load a day. I am, that's my thing. I am a load a day person. I do a load in and a load out, a load in and a load out each day. And when I do that, I'm staying on top of my laundry. I do the same with the dishwasher. Load in, load out. Load in, load out. And that way, it keeps the dishes where they need to be. They're clean. And I'm not constantly feeling like I'm running out of forks, running out of knives, running out of spoons or glasses or whatever it may be. So, intentional moves. I keep, as you're thinking about your kitchen, keep that spray bottle with your dishwashing liquid, water, and I've because of the new counters, I've cut out a little bit of the vinegar because I tend to put vinegar most of the time in there. But I'm using Dawn and water and my spray bottle. And that allows me to clean my counters several times a day and keep it clean. And then that way, if something sits on the counter, falls on the counter, I'm not frantic because I know my counters are clean. So intentional. We want to be intentional about what we do. What are your goals for 2023? It can be a work goal. Work does not have to mean that you're outside of your home. It can be some type of accomplishment that you'd like to make. What is it you want to learn in 2023? It could be something related to cooking. You could take a cooking course, and we can do it right on YouTube. There are cooking courses out there. So those are the kinds of things that we can take a look at and start to plan because we're never too old or too young to learn something new. So, what is it that we want to learn new for 2023? So, we're going to be thinking about that and taking a look at that as well. Now, as we're setting those goals, keep in mind you want to be as specific as you possibly can. As specific. You don't want to say, I want to keep my kitchen clean. What does that mean? Hi, Sierra. What does that mean? What are the things that you intend to do that will help you keep that kitchen clean? And for our new homemakers, our young, new homemakers, as we talk about these goals, we want to make sure that we're specific because they may not know yet. You know, we've had some young homemakers that have been here at the lunch table, and they are trying to figure it all out. And so, as we're able to put that information before them, we want to be specific. And that's what we're going to do. Now, I'm looking at Sierra and she says, let's see, she says one of the goals that she has is one date night a month with her husband. She said, we just went on our first date night since having, oh, their little guy in February. How sweet. So he's old enough that you feel comfortable to go out. And that's a good thing because I remember when, when my little ones, when the kids were little, and they were infants, then you didn't feel comfortable leaving them with a sitter unless it was your mother. If it was your mother or maybe your sister-in-law, you would leave them with them. But other than that, we weren't doing it. So that's intentional and that's good because you brought up a good subject. One of our goals, of course, is to take care of ourselves, but also a major goal and a very important goal is one of improving and enhancing your relationships, whether it's hubby, whether it's your family. You want to improve those relationships. And our husbands, our partners, they're important. They're important to us, and we need to be able to let them know just how important they are. And I can tell you, I have found after 46 years, is that I can't outgive when it comes to love and encouragement to my partner, to my husband, because the more I pour into him, and I'm not doing it just because I think I'm gonna get it back. I am doing it because that's how I work. The more we pour into them, it's amazing how they come back to you. The kindness, the love, the blessings come back to you. And that's not just your hubbies. It can be your job. The more you pour into it lovingly, then the more you're going to get back. And you will see the growth. And it can be your family member, it can be your children. You want to pour as much into them as you possibly can. Positive, positive, positive encouragement, because positive is going to feed positiveness. And that's something I learned very early in education, and I have tried it and tested it, and I'm telling you, it works. It works. We cannot be kind enough. We cannot be loving enough, because the more loving you are, the more that love comes back to you. And that's a circle we want to create here in our home. We want that circle of love to be strong. And when our circle of love within our home is strong, it beams and it moves outward. And those people who come into that circle, they can feel it. You can feel the difference. Walk into a home where you don't have that love and connection, and then walk into a home where the love and connection's there. It's amazing. It's amazing. You can feel the difference. So we want to make sure that we're creating a positive, loving environment. And that's a goal that should always be on our list. And we've got it on our 2023. Now, as you're writing your goals, and see, this is December. So we're jotting down goals. We're jotting them down as we think of them in our planner, in our notebook, even on your phone, if that's the case. And as we're jotting those down, we want to take the time to review and revise. I don't know about you, but I think back to college when we were writing papers, or even high school, where we were writing essays. And if you wrote that essay all in one setting and then came back to it the next day and reread it, if you're like me, I had to go and revise because whatever I was thinking at that moment and how it was worded at that moment and what my thought was at that moment, I had to go back and I had to revise it and clarify it. So those are the things we do with our goals. We want to make sure that our goals are clear, that we can even start to look at the steps so that we will know. We want to know what we want to accomplish, how we're going to accomplish whatever it is. We want to know how many steps we're going to need to take to accomplish it, and when do we want it done. And that's important because how do you know if you've accomplished a goal if you haven't set when you want to have it done? So, cooking, you want to know, okay, this is when we're starting. This is when we're going to go through this period of doing the study. There's probably going to be a time for practice and using it. And by such and such date, I'm going to be able to do this. Now, oh, Tam, you are so sweet. Thank you so much. We are going to be able to look at ourselves. We're going to look at our growth. And I like to do it on a quarterly basis, to plan by quarters, because those are little chunks throughout the year. We really don't, we want to break it down into those little chunks. It's kind of like going on a diet. When you know you want to go on a diet and say you need to lose 100 pounds, when you say, I want to lose 100 pounds, that goal is this big. And it's hard to think 100 pounds. But if you take it in small bits, say we break that into quarters, 25 pounds here, check. And we can celebrate. Next 25, woohoo! We got a celebration. And we continue 25, 25, and set those little small goals. We have celebratory points. And that's mentally stimulating. And that's mentally encouraging. And it keeps us going. And so that's what we want to be able to do. We want to be able to encourage ourselves, to keep ourselves going. And I kind of do that with the house. I break it into parts. And for those of you who, you may be a fly lady cat person, and she's got small bits all along the week, all along the month of things to do to get your house in order. If you're fly lady, just the big fly lady, she has little small baby steps that you're taking. There's a reason for that because it gives you a chance to check off as you go. And it gives you a chance to be inspired to continue what you're doing. And so as your family notices, as they'll go in and they'll start to say, oh, huh, wow, this looks really nice. Or if it's your meal planning, they say, you know what? You have really nailed it this week. We had 4 amazing dinners. Or this was the funny part. My son, when he was young, was when he really loved a meal, and let me tell you, it almost continued until he was probably in middle school. He had this thing of he'd swing his legs while he was eating, and if it was really good, you could hear the legs going because his feet would hit the table and or hit his chair. And so you knew when you had a winner because those little legs were just going. And so it was cute, it was funny, but it was also inspiring because I knew, oh, this is a good thing. When hubby says at the end of the meal, "Whew, this was good. And do we have any leftovers? Can you put those in the refrigerator for me and let me take those to work?" You had a good meal. When everyone at the table goes, "Oh, this is amazing," right in the middle of dinner, you got a hit. And that encourages you to step out and try something new. Now, it's funny. I did a little short last week of those Parker House rolls. And actually, I'm going to do a new video on the rolls because they really are very good. But this time when I did them, I did not use my KitchenAid. I did everything by hand. And when you see the video, I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do it all by hand because it is so easy to do. And you need to feel what you're doing. You want to put your hands on what you're doing so that you know when it's right. And so those are the kind of things that, for instance, I've been doing the sourdough journey, and I've got my little starter in the refrigerator now. So I'm giving him a little bit of time. He's going to get pulled out, and we're going to make a bowl of bread with that sourdough. And you have been a part of that journey all along. And so I did that because that was one of my goals for this year, was to be able to create a sourdough starter that would be strong enough to rise bread. And I have been trying and trying and trying for the past couple of years. And it just wasn't what I thought it was going to be. But this time we're going to keep at it until we accomplish it. And so it won't be accomplished until that bread is baked. And we will know that it's taken place. And you're going to be a part of that. And I think you'll enjoy it. We're also taking a look at being able to put together our menus in such a way that we have what I've changed for you in the menu now for our 1 month, one plan is that I'm giving you a variety of items. I want you to have, and I'm going to flip in my planner here because I don't want to leave anything out. I want you to be able to look at using your slow cooker. I want to give you so many slow cooker meals so that you know for the month where you would be able to do at least one slow cooker meal per week, one pan meal per week, maybe one soup per week, and then one new dish per week. And so then that way, as you're looking at your plan, it gives you a variety. You know what's going on in the month of December. Saturday, we did candy, we did the brownies, and because I already know I'm going to be taking those brownies out, and I got them decorated. And you know what? It just dawned on me. I took the picture. I'm not sure I put the picture on the community page, but I will. But they turned out so stinking cute. And but the candy, that peanut brittle is delicious. And so I've got enough. I ended up doing 4 batches before it was over. I did 4 batches before it was over. Sorry about that, guys. You know, you're always getting spam. I had 4 batches before it was over because I wanted enough to be able to bundle some and give it to neighbors who I know like peanut brittle. And we've got family members who like peanut brittle as well. And I want to be able to take some of those with me. I've got some outings to go to with Hostess. We have Hostess gifts. So, as a part of the Hostess gift, I have a purchased item and I'm going to have a home item as a part of that hostess gift. So they're going to have candy or cookies, and they're going to have their purchase gift as a part of their hostess item. So that gives me a chance to be able to do that. Even if the hostess item is a bottle of wine, give them something else that you've made that's intentional. So I had to plan for that. So those are some of the things that we're going to be taking a look at as well. And as we move throughout these weeks, as I put those things together, they're going to be a part of what you're doing as well, or looking at as well, and making those decisions. Now, we have this month, I have asked Denise of This and That to come in, and on the 19th, I want you to bring your planners for 2023. Bring them with you to the lunch table. And the reason for that is that we are going to sit down and together we're going to talk about our planning. If you haven't decided on what type of planner you're going to use for 2023, between the two of us, I'm sure you're going to see some samples of some planners. In fact, I know you will. You're going to see some samples of some planners that we are going to be using in 2023 and how we're going to be using them in 2023. And so it will give us a chance to talk about that. It's intentional. We're getting ready. In addition to all the other galas that are going to be going on over the next 30 days, we are also preparing for 2023. And we don't want to wait until the last minute. Now, next week, I've got a treat for you. I have someone who's going to be coming to the lunch table, and she is a wonderful homemaker. She is a wonderful decorator. She is all of that, all tied up in one bag. And so I just think you're going to enjoy. She's a delightful lady. And so definitely you're going to want to be in your seat ready next week for lunchtime, because our guest is going to be absolutely amazing. And I'm so excited that she's going to be here with us. And also, think about this. When you get your plan, for the new plan for the 1 month, one plan, and you're going to get to see that today when the newsletter comes out, give me some feedback as to what you think about the layout of the plan. Tell me what you think. Is it a good layout? Is there something we need to add or to tweak? This is my time to do the tweaking, so that once I get into 2023, I'll have everything laid out for us so that we're ready to go. And we are ready to do what we need to do. This is a fun time at lunchtime. Now, I know we started lunchtime with lots of people coming in. And so I'm looking at maybe once a month, twice a month, having guests to come in to the lunch table. And because now that everyone's back to work, back to homeschooling, back to doing all those things, it's a little more difficult getting guests in for lunchtime. And so we're going to start to look at subjects that you might like to talk about. Throw them in the community page, throw them down in the comments. all of those places, so that as I'm putting our next quarter, now of course, I'm going to be planning even beyond the next quarter, but particularly I'll focus on the next quarter and be able to see some of those things that I think might be helpful to you. If there's something you'd like to know, something you want to learn how to do, all those kinds of things I'm making plans for. And so as I get questions from you, and or you share your thoughts with me, then I can do that. I can add that to the list of things that need to be done. So I'm keeping a running list of those items. Now, what are your plans for 2023? Have you been consistent with what you thought you were going to do in 2022? You know, 2022 started out a little shaky, especially for those of us who are homemakers and home cooks. You know, we were very concerned at the beginning of 2022 about how much food was going to be available, whether our grocery stores, remember the grocery aisles were a little bare because we were having some distribution issues. And we pray that we will not have those issues this year. But at the same time, does that mean that we should not plan? That our kitchen should not be one that we keep additional items on the shelf, so that should a disaster come about, whether it's a terrible snowstorm. Think of those folks in the north that had awful snowstorms. They couldn't even go to the grocery. Well, what if you happen to have been one of those people, and you did not have extras on your shelf and you couldn't get out? It doesn't have to be at the store have. It could be our weather that could be the reason why we can't have a lot in our on our shelves, in our pantry. So shopping is important. So I want you to think about that as time goes by. Keep your shelves full. And while you're filling your shelves this month, add a couple of extra cans, not only for your shelf, but for someone else's. So this is my suggestion and what I'm going to ask you to do. Take one of those shopping bags that we pick up at the grocery store and put it somewhere in your kitchen, and start to add canned goods to that, or we'll say non-perishable items, into whether it's cereal, oatmeal, whatever it may be. And let's try during this month to fill that bag up. And at the end of the month, take it to some type of food bank that we can contribute it to. It may be that your church is collecting canned goods and non-perishable items. Take the bag to that location. Or you may have someone down the street. If you have little ones that have clothes that are too small, now is the time to gather those clothes and take them to the Goodwill or some of those other organizations, clean them up, put them in a bag, and take them, because the winter is upon us. It is cold. We need to help each other. You know, sometimes um, we have to be more intentional, not just about ourselves. You may have family members who are struggling because of jobs, because of health, whatever it is. And let's be intentional about trying to make sure that we as a family, as a community, that we are sharing what we have with someone else. So I love each of you. I've got Jan, who's here, she said, using our supplies to give to others is so important. Absolutely. Keeping a bag in the kitchen where we will see it and keep filling it up. Jan, thank you so much. Absolutely. Absolutely. That bag is a reminder to all of us, because it could be us. It could happen in a day. And I don't mean to be morbid, but I'm saying life, nothing is promised to us. So we want to be intentional about sharing what we have with someone else. And we want to be intentional about being a part of the solution, of being able to help those who are close to us. It could be a neighbor. It could be someone that we see in the Walmart parking lot who's living in their car. We may give that bag to them, the bag of clothes to them, or wherever you have a distribution area. Be kind enough to be able to share with someone else. Now, guys, thank you so much for being at the lunch table. This has certainly been a lot of fun. I have enjoyed it, and we've still got a lot to talk about. But you know, over next week, our guest is in. So we probably won't talk about plans for 2023. But that following week, we're going to have all of our stuff ready to go. And when I shoot the 1 month one plan to you, like I said, I want feedback. I want to hear what you think. What do we need to add? What do we need to take away? What would you like to see tweaked? Or whatever it may be. Let me know. And we'll work on it and get it ready for 2023, because it's a new year and we want to refresh and revise and to do the best that we can each day. Guys, I love you. Thank you for sitting here at the lunch table, for our being able to enjoy our moments. Thank you, our Duncan party of 6, for your contributions, because what I do with those contributions is that I try to feed it out into either whatever I'm doing or whatever I'm doing for someone else. So it's always an opportunity to be able to share. Thumbs up. And if you're not a member of the family, please hit that subscribe button before you leave. God bless you all. And Wednesday, we've got something coming out that's going to be fun. And Saturday in the kitchen is going to be here upon us so fast. So just get ready, get ready, get ready, because it's going to be a good time. You're absolutely right. Those random acts of kindness is always a good thing. And that's what we need to be about. We need to make our world a better place with kindness. Let's do that. Let's do something kind today. God bless you all. And I will see you right here at the lunch table next Monday.